Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar. Today we have a special webinar, a special session with Virginia Economic Development Partnership, represented by Antje Abshoff, Vice President of Foreign Direct Investment at Virginia Economic Development Partnership, and representing Drummond Advisors, our Chief Growth Officer, Marcelo Carrullo, who will lead this conversation. Please feel free to send questions through our Q&A, and also feel free to turn on the legends and the subtitles of this webinar on your Zoom platform. Antje, Marcelo, thank you for joining us on this session. Have a nice webinar today.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lucas, for introduce us, for starting the webinar. Thank you for everyone that already registered for this webinar, for being online with us during this next 45, 50 minutes. Again, it's a webinar we prepare. It's a webinar series we prepare for you guys, for answering questions, explain some opportunities we have here with different states in US, how to expand your business, how to scale your business in US territory. And again, thank you so much, Antje, for being with us today to explain and to help us to understand deeply the operations in Virginia and so on. So from our side, from Drummond is a company founded almost 16 years ago with the main target to help all kinds of business, from individuals to big corporations, when they decide to move their operations to the US. So if you are from Portugal, from Brazil, from Asia, from whatever, if you decide to introduce, to expand and open your business here in the US, or if you are already here based, if you decide to scale the business here, we are here to help you to stay 100% compliance in terms of a CPA, legal, tax, planning, and so on. So Drummond is based in the US. It's an American company. I'm based in Boston, where we founded the company. We have around 400 people around the world. We have clients from 40 different countries and almost 14,000 clients nowadays. And one thing that we do every single day, and we try to explain to everyone, is that US is way more than only the traditional place to go, way more than Florida, Massachusetts, where I'm based, New York, California, and so on. So we have 50 states, and the name of the country is United States of America. So meaning that all these states, they stay together to create a country with so many difference in terms of culture, in terms of economic, in terms of business model, in terms of taxes, incentives, and so on. Drummond's a long-term partner of Select USA. Select USA is a program of the US government to help and to attract new business to US. And here we are to talk about Virginia. So Virginia, it's amazing. It's an outstanding state. You're gonna see so many great things about Virginia in economic terms, in professional talents. Also some fun facts about the area. And here we have Antje to introduce you Virginia, to introduce how to establish your business there, what kind of business, pros and cons to be there, and so on. So, Antje, the floor is yours. Again, guys, you have a Q&A area to post any kind of question. Lucas is here with us to help to mediate that. So please feel free to raise your hand, to post questions on the Q&A section, and we are here to help you. Antje, once again, thank you so much for being here with us. The floor is yours. Please go on.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. And it's my absolute pleasure to be here. I'm sorry. Great. My first sentence and I'm losing my voice. Thank you also, Marcelo, Lucas, the whole team at Drummond. It's first of all, it's such an honor to be invited by you to speak about the Commonwealth of Virginia to your audience. And then also, you are such a wonderful partner. And during my many trips to Brazil, I have come to understand how you support Brazilian, South American, but also Portuguese companies and Asian companies. And I meet your colleagues all over the world, and it's always a pleasure. And you do provide a great service. First of all, as you can maybe tell from my accent, I was not born in the United States, just like Marcel. And I was born in Germany, so I do have a German accent, which is the first thing about Virginia. Virginia is international. And I'm going to start off with the presentation here. If it moves forward, and it doesn't move forward for me, does it move forward for you?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Huh. Ah, now
There we
it does.
go. There we go.
Okay, perfect. We will make this presentation available to you. I know that I have added a lot of information to these slides, but please know, in case I go too quickly over this to allow more time for Q&A, you will have access to this file, and I'll be happy to answer any additional questions that you have after the event. I serve as Vice President Foreign Direct Investment for the state that has been ranked numerous times #1 top state for business in the United States by CNBC, a very qualified business outlet. These are some of our key rankings, not only by CNBC, but also by other outlets such as Forbes or Business Facilities. And we are a top state to do business with a friendly tax and regulatory policy that will make you either scaling or establishing a business in the United States easier. Interestingly enough, Virginia was founded as a business, and it's in our DNA really to work with companies, to support companies as they come to Virginia and grow there. Virginia was founded by King James the First or the Sixth, depending whether you're Scottish or English and love your history as much as I do, as the Virginia Tea Company. And to this day, we not only support business, but especially international business. To give you a quick overview where Virginia is located, for those of you who have traveled to our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., I strongly assume that you have been to Virginia because two of the large Washington, D.C. area airports and international airports are in Virginia. The one is Washington Dulles Airport, or IAD, with over 60 direct flights to international destinations. And the other one is Reagan or National or short DCA Airport. So whenever I do speak in front of a crowd that I can see, I ask them to raise their hands who's been to Virginia, and often we don't get too many hands that have been raised. But as soon as I mention the airports, just about everyone realizes, oh dear, I've been to Virginia. Well, and even though I'm not finished yet with this presentation, I would love to invite you to come back to Virginia. Some key points that I would like to point out on this slide is A, that we have more than a 91.4% high school diploma or higher population. That means that our population is very educated. We'll talk about bachelor's degrees and master's degrees, etc. later. We also have many international companies from all areas of the world, South America, Central America, Asia, and Europe. And we also have a very low crime rate, which is great when people move to the United States and want to enjoy their life in Virginia. From Virginia, you can reach almost 50% of the US population within a 1-day drive and 75% within a 2-day drive. We are equidistant, Boston to Miami, And New York is only about a 4-hour drive, if at all. It depends on traffic, of course. We also have the third largest port on the East Coast in Virginia. It is the largest exporter, and it is often the first and last port of call, meaning that when ships arrive to the United States, the Port of Virginia is where they dock first to unload, and then again where they dock last to load again. It's also been named the most efficient port in the United States, and that is because it is highly automated, making sure to protect you as the port customer or port user from any disruptions because of the automation. We also very, very, very rarely have any strikes at our port, which also has to do with our low unionization rate. I'm going to talk about a couple of sectors and ecosystems in Virginia. The list is right here. These are not comprehensive. We, of course, have more industry sectors in Virginia, but these are the sectors that are most prominent in our state. And it kind of also tells a story because very often when companies start operating, especially international companies, of course, here, start operating in the United States, they typically start with a sales office or a headquarters type operation. So this is usually the beginning here. And with regards to headquarters, you can see here that we have many, many different companies from all around the world in many different sectors. Why did these companies choose Virginia as a headquarters location? The reason for this, and this is a closer look to some of our international ones, is very varied. For some, it is the proximity to our federal government in Washington, D.C. And by the way, most of the companies that say we're based in Washington, D.C. really are based in Virginia, in Northern Virginia to be specific. It's also our excellent transportation infrastructure, but all above, it's our talent. We have a very international population. We also have, because of our proximity to the federal government and the state and the Commerce Department, many people who have worked for these two institutions abroad are returning and are looking for jobs. So not only do we have a large foreign-born population, but we also have many Americans that are very experienced in international business, different various foreign cultures, and also speak multiple languages. For example, at our team at VEDP, I certainly am not the only one who speaks multiple languages, but we have at least 20 people on our team who not only speak different languages, but who have also lived abroad, which in my opinion makes a lot of difference here. The next ecosystem I would like to briefly illustrate is tech and data centers in Virginia. And I do realize that this slide is rather small, and I apologize for that. It may be hard to read, but in Virginia, you find everything from software to cybersecurity to data centers to semiconductor manufacturing and. Data centers, for example, include AWS, and AWS announced some couple of years, no, 2 years ago, that the company will invest more than 35 billion US dollars in new data center in the Commonwealth of Virginia. But we also have the other large names such as Meta, Microsoft, and Equinix. And should you be interested in more information, I can certainly share with you lists of companies in those specific sectors. With the one caveat for data centers that many of these are confidential, but we still have an exhaustive, a long list of published data centers as well. Northern Virginia, especially as a magnet for top tech companies, and 42 of the top 100 tech contracting companies are based in Northern Virginia. And since we invested in the 60s in fiber optics, we are now home to the largest data center market in the world. Northern Virginia also boasts that 70% not only of the regions, but the world's internet traffic flows through data centers in Virginia. And we also have the talent that you need to successfully operate from Virginia in the tech sector. I also want to make sure that it's something I'm personally very proud of, that the internet was invented in Virginia at DARPA. So that is something also to keep in mind. And because of that long history of tech affinity, as well as universities and talent, we have become a magnet and a key location of choice for tech companies. Another reason why we have many tech companies as well as headquarters, as I mentioned before, we are very either home to key federal government operations and decision makers or very close. And again, I can provide more information on this. The Pentagon, our Department of War, is actually located in Virginia. The world's largest naval base for aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines is based close to the port of Virginia in Norfolk, where you see the other cluster of yellow dots. And the Marines are based, the Marines headquarters are in Quantico, Virginia as well, and many, many others. And I'll be happy to provide more information upon request. With regards to cybersecurity, I would like to briefly point out that we are home to many NSA and DHS centers of academic excellence for the cybersecurity sector. Therefore, the cybersecurity industry sector is obviously very, very prominent in our state. Next topic, life sciences. When you're ready. Not sure how relevant this is to the audience online, but I hope that I have a couple of life science companies listening to this presentation. Virginia certainly is not necessarily Boston or the Research Triangle or California. However, we have a thriving life sciences industry ecosystem that supports both large, medium, and also small companies as they grow in the United States. Virginia is sometimes overlooked, but as we say, hits well above its weight for life sciences. We had many, many projects announced over the last couple of years, and the 2.5 billion invested in creating 6,200 jobs. That is until July 2025. 25% of all US federally funded R&D centers are based in Virginia, and we had several recent company announcements. Halion, for example, operates one of 3 worldwide research and development centers in Richmond, Virginia. And our universities do support the life sciences industry extensively. Civica, for example, one of the companies mentioned in here, is a spin-off from VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. And along with the pharmaceutical production activity, we also have packaging and packing establishments serving that industry in the Commonwealth. And last year, we had 3 very, very large life sciences announcements. On the international side, AstraZeneca announced that they will invest $4.5 billion in creating more than 600 jobs for a manufacturing facility for drugs focused on chronic diseases as well as oncology, and also GLP-1, which is a big trend in the United States. Lilly announced that they would invest in a new facility in Goochland County, which is close to our capital, Richmond. And again, it is important that pharmaceuticals are made in the United States, whether it's ingredients or finished products. And we are very, very proud and grateful that Lilly chose Virginia. And MSD is an example for an existing industry that expanded in Virginia. Why did all of these three companies locate in Virginia? It is mostly because of our top-rated workforce and workforce development programs, which is one of our key incentives, and I'll talk about this more at a later time. Some information on the F&B food and beverage industry ecosystem. As you can see here, again, very international. Marushan makes sauce, and then we have Sabra, which is one of the largest hummus production plants in the United States. And we have had many companies that have expanded and grown as well. Danone from France is another one. And of course, the Brazilian company JBS also has a large presence in Virginia. And again, some key statistics here, providing you an overview of companies that already operate in Virginia, some anchor brands. And of course here, like with many of these, I'm naming the very large companies, but believe me, there are many, many SMEs that operate successfully from their locations in Virginia. Nestle from Switzerland has not only its US headquarters in Virginia, but also produces F&B as well as pet care products in Virginia. And here is a more visual overview, again, of the international companies that are related to the F&B sector. I just noticed one logo we are missing on here is the German company Lidl, which is a very large supermarket chain. And just like Aldi, those companies do operate many stores and have a very international selection of food items in their grocery stores. Gonna pause for a second. Marcelo, any questions or you want to jump in with anything?
No, you can go on. We have a couple of questions, but I prefer you finish because some of
Okay.
them are related for the first slide, some of them for the last slide. So move on,
Okay.
then we wrap up everything. Thank you.
Okay. Good. Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you all for listening to me, by the way, because I know I talk a lot and I tend to talk a little fast sometimes.
It's a pleasure. Go ahead.
Good, thank you. And next industry overview that I'm providing is the aerospace and defense ecosystem. We have many defense companies in Virginia. As I already mentioned before, the Pentagon, the Department of War, is based in Arlington, Virginia, all up north here, close to Washington, D.C. But we also have the largest naval base, so that is for defense. And then in terms of aerospace, Airbus, for example, has its North American headquarters operations in Northern Virginia as well, flanked by also Airbus Defense and Space. And then many, many true aerospace companies, such as in aviation. This can range from Goodyear in Southern Virginia, making airplane tires, to BWXT, making small nuclear reactors for our nuclear submarines, all the way to SES for satellites. Leidos is another large defense contractor. Rheinmetall is a German company, and again, many others. I would like to point out here companies such as DroneUp, for example, because aerospace today is not only planes with a pilot, but as you know, unmanned systems play an increasingly important role. And Virginia also has many unmanned systems companies such as DroneUp, for example, Electra, etc. This is also an industry that has been trending in Virginia for the last decade. There is a lot of momentum that we're seeing right now in that industry. And what I hadn't mentioned before is that Virginia has a spaceport, one of the few spaceports in the United States. And it has been licensed, obviously, by FAA to launch spacecraft from there. And companies that have availed themselves of our spaceport include Rocket Lab, and then, oh, now I'm just blanking on the name, the Elon Musk, SpaceX. Here we go. SpaceX as well. Yeah, I want to say Elon Musk company. And this is both for commercial space operations as well as governmental space operations. NASA operates also NASA Langley, which is one of the oldest research center for NASA in the United States. And a couple of anchor companies that I've already mentioned, Rocket Lab from New Zealand, Northrop Grumman, BAE Systems, originally a British company, Leonardo, Airbus, Thales, and Avio. And again, our aerospace engineering program, a great source for aerospace companies recruiting talent, has been ranked number 10 nationally. And I'm going to skip over this slide in the interest of time. And again, this information will be shared by you, so you can review this. This is an announcement from February 2026, so very, very recent. Avio is an Italian headquartered company, Avio SPA, and they will invest significant capital to establish a manufacturing facility to produce solid rocket motors. These have applications, classical dual-use technology in defense, propulsion, missile system, but also the commercial space sector. So we support, again, these large projects with our incentives, workforce solution, real estate options, and whatever is required. But please keep in mind that the same support is also provided to you as an SME company. And I already spoke about NASA Langley. To me, it's always astonishing that it was already established in 1917. This is how long and how far back the space age and the research has been around in Virginia. And again, it is, humans in deep space. They also work on revolutionizing airplanes and the whole transportation system. We also have other assets, and again, these here serve as an example of key university or research assets that we can provide to you as a company and connect you with as you're exploring how and where to grow in the United States, and of course, specifically in Virginia. Our advanced materials ecosystem is also very, very diverse. You see a couple of very well-known names here, including Gerdau from Brazil, but also some of the household names, such as Lego. Lego established its first American manufacturing facility in Virginia to produce their fabulous toys and building blocks. And I know these are enjoyed not only by children, but also by adults. And they also cited as the main reason why they located in Virginia, again, our workforce programs, specifically the Virginia Talent Accelerator program. And we have more than 400 advanced materials companies operating in Virginia. And they span the whole gamut from Lego, which is plastics, to chemicals such as DuPont, Arkema from France, Evonik from Germany. Of course, also many domestic companies, and then also metalworking companies such as Kaiser Aluminum, Ball, and Mitsubishi Chemical, Crown for metals as well. So very, very diverse. What we do offer not only for the advanced material sector, but also in general, is our very low private sector unionization rate, which currently stands at 2.5% and below the national average electricity rates. I would like to also tell you why is this relevant to you. The lower the unionization rate, the better typically the environment for you as a company. Okay, now I need to have a sip of water because I've been talking nonstop now for half an hour. Good news is we're almost done. Quick information on our workforce program. Virginia has been ranked #1 for customized training, and our customized training incentive not only includes training, but also includes the recruitment of your future workforce in the United States. And we've also been ranked #1 for business education, which is not only some of the large universities listed below the two rankings, but also extends to our pre-K as well as K through 12, so primary, middle, and high school education. We have the top ranked high schools in the United States in Virginia. One example there would be Thomas Jefferson High School in Northern Virginia. And we also have many universities that we draw on for recruiting, not only in Virginia, but also surrounding area that produce truly world-renowned STEM talent. And all in all, we have more than 70 higher education institutions. 42 of these are universities, including research universities, which is a distinction in the United States. And then we also have many community colleges. And community colleges are used for workforce training programs for your blue collar workers, typically, also some white collar, but the majority would be blue collar workers, where they, for example, can gain certificates to be an electrician, to be a CNC operator, or a welder, or many, many opportunities here. And then I'm almost there now. Virginia is closer than you think. And I'm sorry if I made this Brazil-centric, but I absolutely adore Brazil. Can't wait to be back there again. Early next year in January, my next trip is coming up, and I'll be so grateful to be back. But we're close. Again, Washington Dulles Airport, I mentioned this before, daily direct service to Brazil, the Port of Virginia, and I listed the shipping lane connections here for you. And we also obviously not only have the Port of Virginia at the port, but we also have inland ports, again, making very, very seamless and uncomplicated production and moving of goods possible for you. We don't yet have that many Brazilian companies, but I would love to see more Brazilian companies invest and thrive in Virginia. These are some of the examples, and I'm happy to share the complete list with you later, but I believe that these have the most name recognition. As you can see, 3 different industries And Stefanini has been in Richmond, Virginia for many, many years, and we appreciate their presence. And we also support them, by the way, as they grow and expand with a wide variety of confidential and free services. The other connection that we have is the Brucer cable. As I mentioned before, the data centers are in Virginia, and many of the international cables and subsea cables do land in Virginia. So this is another way that we are connected. Without going into too much detail, I would just like to leave you with the information that Virginia's state and local tax burden is significantly lower than the national average and also many competitors. In order, though, to paint a very accurate picture, I would rather provide you with a tailored comparison instead of this more general information. And we can also provide that in more detail. What is it that we provide? All of our services, again, are free and confidential. And yeah, we will do just about anything for you. And obviously, we would be very, very grateful if you would consider Virginia as you're growing and scaling in the United States. And lastly, this is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me. I would be very, very pleased to hear from you and appreciate your time and attention. Thank you.
Okay, okay, Antje, awesome. Thank you so much for this presentation. Thank you, everyone. I already have some questions that people are posting on Q&A. I'm gonna get that. First of all, I'm gonna use my teenager daughter language. So kudos for you, right? In my time, I used to clap, but now kudos for you. So thank you so much for that. Let me start with a couple of questions that we already received previously in the webinar. It's about incentives. The majority of our audience today, they are from Brazil. And they are they are trying to understand deeply why Virginia and not Texas and not Florida and so on. But let's start with some incentives. And I know that the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, you help a lot all those companies. So we have a question that, and thank you, Gustavo, for that. If you are not based in Virginia, let's say you are based in Delaware or you're based in another state, how they can reach those incentives you already presented, you already mentioned. You need to stay based in Virginia. You need to have at least an office, or you need to have people there. How does it work, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy to talk about this. First of all, generally on incentives, Virginia has many, many different incentive programs. Why? Virginia, in our state, we typically tailor our incentives to the perceived challenges that companies see with regards to expanding to Virginia. So we have discretionary incentives, which are negotiable, infrastructure assistance, recruitment and training incentives, regional and local assistance, and tax incentives. All these incentives have one thing in common. They mitigate risk for the company, and they also increase time to market for company. In order to access our incentives, which again are very wide variety, and I'm happy to put at a later time also the link to our incentives website into the chat, companies would need to establish some kind of facility in Virginia, whether that is a headquarter, a warehouse, or a distribution center, or assembly or manufacturing operation. Once you decide to establish, or once you start looking for location, and you're thinking about, since you mentioned the example Delaware, you're thinking about Delaware, if you also consider Virginia, we would certainly provide you with all of our services, and that would also likely include incentives.
Perfect. Here you go. Another question is about we don't have an embassy or a consulate based in Virginia, Brazil, embassy or consulate based in Virginia, but it's it could seem to be a disadvantage, but it's not because the Washington D.C. embassy covers the Virginia area. So it's good because you have a strong position in Washington, pretty close to the north of Virginia, but
Mhm.
at the same time, you have um, the VEDP to help them. So if you could walk us through a little bit deeply about your role, the role of the VEDP to help those companies if they decide to establish the business in Virginia. And for who doesn't understand the concept, this economic development officer, they help in several ways. They have a goal to attract new business, but also they work as a huge facilitator to the whole process. So please, Antje, if you can walk us through a little bit more about that, because we already post in the chat your LinkedIn, your contact. So feel free, guys, to keep in touch directly to her. We're also recording this presentation so you can watch that later on. We're also gonna share this presentation to everyone that already registered in this webinar. So, Antje, how can we
Yeah.
approach you? How does it work actually?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe taking one step back, my organization that I work for, the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, is the state organization to support both international and domestic companies as they are looking to scale or in Virginia or to establish a location in Virginia. All of our services are free and confidential, and we provide a lot of assistance around the topic of site selection, meaning that we do have an encompassing database of available real estate, offices, buildings, greenfield sites that we can search for you based on your project parameters. We are also able to provide tailored research, for example, cost of doing business comparisons, but also benchmarking. And that can also include list of companies in certain sectors for you also to gauge the size of the market. Once you have landed in Virginia, we also support you through our excellent and award-winning trade program, meaning that if you want to use your location in North America as a springboard for other markets, whether that is Canada, Asia, or Europe, we also have a program that will support you there. We also offer you access to so-called soft landing programs. If you are a Brazilian company that wants to start relatively small and you're looking not only for office space, but also support in terms of marketing, in terms of market research, all the various, areas that you're typically looking at, we do have a soft landing program that can help you with that. And last but not least, we also provide you with customized incentive proposal once we've understood the scope of your planned operation. And the best way to get in touch with us is to reach out to either me or my colleagues by email with a brief overview of what your plans are for the United States and what your request for information would be and how we can best support you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Antje. Another questions, and thank you, Pedro Botelho, for those questions. Um, in US, and we have that in Drummond with our clients. In US, if you are looking for a region where life science and biotech is really strong, usually go to Massachusetts, where I'm based. If you are looking for a place where You have a lot of incentives for fintechs. You go for Georgia, another state, specifically Atlanta. Food tech, you go to the Midwest, to Illinois, Chicago. Energy, oil and gas, and healthcare, you go to Texas. But when we see your presentation, it's amazing because in Virginia you have everything,
Yeah.
right? You have all those sectors, a lot of incentives, big companies there, so many talents available from universities. So tell us a little bit about how you can you how Virginia competes directly with Texas, Florida, North Carolina, some other states. What are the huge pros, the huge advantage of being in Virginia? We see some slides talk about that, but if you decide to do business in Virginia,
Mm.
how differential is to choose Virginia instead of choosing another states, please?
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you so much for that question. I do very much appreciate it. And yes, you're absolutely right. There are some regions or states in the United States that are known for one industry or maybe two only. Virginia has the challenge to be so very diverse in terms of industry sector. But it is an incredible blessing in the end because we are able to support very different sectors, and sometimes we also support them in different areas of the state. And if you compare Virginia to the other states that you just mentioned, um, the reasons why all these very diverse companies from the various industries have chosen Virginia is this is not in a specific order, but its talent is often the number one reason. We have incredible talent at a relatively moderate cost. Proximity to customers. I showed you earlier in the presentation that you can reach 50% of the US population from Virginia, and then also the operating cost. Virginia has several distinct regions as well. You have Northern Virginia, where you have many of the tech companies as well as headquarters. Then you have a lot of F&B, let's say in the Shenandoah Valley and around the Richmond region, many defense companies on close to our military bases and the largest naval base in Norfolk. And then also in terms of life sciences, proximity to key universities such as the University of Virginia and Virginia Commonwealth University. And again, the reasons why companies choose Virginia are very diverse, but overarching, it's workforce, operating cost, and customer proximity.
Yeah,
Well, and
yeah.
then honestly, also the incentives play also a role or have played a role, and I should not mention them. It's important actually that I mention them because our incentives are tailored. Instead of receiving tax credits that you may not be able to monetize, you will receive incentives that have been designed to be beneficial and most beneficial to your business as you grow and scale.
It's interesting because you have a couple of questions here from probably students or people that want to hire people in the region. And I don't know if you guys that are watching this webinar, if you are familiarized with the term STEAM, STEM, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You have a lot of graduates from there, correctly, Antje? From the
Yeah.
universities around. And
Yes.
this is a huge differential, right? Because those tech companies, those companies that are looking for this kind of talents, oh, here you go. Yeah. That's talk about this STEAM talent you have there, please.
Mhm. So Virginia continues to invest not only in talent, but also specifically in STEM talent. And the way that we invest in this is to provide excellent schools, K through 12, but then also to make sure that our universities are equipped to provide the STEM talent that tech companies need. Tech or also companies that need engineering talent. And I would like to give one example here. On the left side, you see Virginia Tech, the University of Virginia Tech. It's one of the best tech universities in the United States. When Amazon decided to set up its second headquarters in the United States, it chose Northern Virginia. And part of the incentive for Amazon was also that the state will invest 1 billion US dollars into a new Virginia Tech campus that will provide not only Amazon, but all the companies with graduates in computer science and related degrees. So this is only one example how we continue to invest in our workforce, how we continue to invest in our universities as well as in our schools, into our schools.
It's great you mention Amazon. I remember I was here watching closely the bid of where
Yeah,
they're gonna stay. We lost here in Massachusetts. Virginia won, and
yeah,
definitely, of course, they chose Virginia because of the talent, the strategic location, and no doubt that's really a world-class technology infrastructure you have there. And
yeah.
this is awesome. I have another question here. It's about immigration, also from Pedro. And Pedro, I can let you know and everyone, United States, we have here two main characteristics. One is a pro-business country, definitely right, Antje. It's a really pro-business. So if you are here impacting positively the U.S. economy, you're gonna receive a red carpet for you. You're gonna feel so welcome in every state because you are really doing something great to the country and for the country. Okay. So that being said, the other main point is you need to stay 100% regulated.
Mhm.
US is a by the book country.
Yeah.
So please, if you do business here, stay 100% compliance. And immigration is one of the main points. So looking for all kind of visas you have available here. Drummond can help you on this. Drummond help you in the whole back office, so including immigration process. If you want to expatriate as active, or if you are a founder and decide to be here in US, you have a couple of different visas, you have a lot of a different green card. You can count on the VEDP help to uh, to establish the whole process. You can count on Drummond to help you to establish a huge soft landing in US. Correctly, Antia?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you see, it's one of the points you can help them to support the growth and the scalability, right? So it's easy to get some technical and commercial partnership in the area. You can feel welcome when you're looking for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It is relatively easy. What we do offer through our soft landing spaces is again not only, a desk and a chair, but so much more. We will support you with regards to market research and other issues or challenges that you have that you're encountering, strategic advice, consulting as well on an as needed basis. And these soft landing programs are run by several entities in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We have one, for example, that is run by a university, the George Mason Enterprise Center. We have another one that is run by a local economic development organization, Henrico Global Business Gateway. We have another one that is run by a region. And by tapping into these soft landing programs, you immediately tap into a network that will support your company as you scale in the United States.
There you go. We are almost ending our webinar. We have 5 more minutes. We have a lot of questions that we can walk through here. One of those are if you are a Brazilian entrepreneur with a limited resource, Virginia, it is or it's not a good option, and I can definitely say that it's a wonderful option, specifically if you are in the B2B tech services, logistics, cybersecurity, because you don't need to have a strong structure to establish the business there. And also, you are not in saturated markets correctly, and you are not in New York where a lot of business are run away looking for space and for cost structure more competitive and so on. So again, thank you very much, guys, for your questions. Antje, the stage is yours for the closing remarks. One more time, you're gonna share this presentation. The webinar is recorded. Sorry for not covering all the questions, but we have a limited time here. Antje, please close your remarks.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much again for providing the opportunity to speak and to share information about the state of Virginia with you. And again, just what you just said resonated very much with me. As you know, Virginia is the 13th largest state in our nation. And you, as a company, when you come to Virginia, if you compare us to large cities, you will be what we call in American a bigger fish in a smaller pond. And we will make sure to provide you with all the services that you need for your success in the United States. And so please come visit us whenever you travel. Consider visiting us in Virginia, and please let us know how our FDI team, how our foreign direct investment team, as well as the colleagues based in Richmond and all over the world, can support you with your plans. Thank you so much.
I thank you, Antje. Thank you a lot. Thank you everyone that stay here with us until the end. And I move the mic to Lucas. Lucas, anything to conclude here?
Well, first I have to say thank you, Antje, for the brilliant presentation. I think our audience knows much more details and informations about Virginia. Thank you also, Marcelo, for conducting this webinar. Guys, we will receive this presentation after the webinar. And the final message for you is another thanks for your audience and keep in touch with Drummond Advisors. Follow us on social media. It's Drummond Advisors on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. There you can have access to our webinar calendar. Every week we bring here on the stage a subject and a topic that is really, really important for people and companies that wants to go to the Americas. And again, thank you, Marcela. Thank you, Antje. I hope you all guys have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Thank
you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.